items that you can really stretch your budget, your grocery budget, but that also pack a punch nutritionally. One of the top ones is eggs. Now, yes, the price of eggs has gone up, but even with that, when I buy the farm fresh eggs at the market, or usually I do a roadside stand up on Signal Mountain, they're $7, but I know that those 12 eggs are so nutritionally dense that $7 is really going far for me and my son. So eggs, lean into eggs. We already mentioned sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are so cheap. They are on the Clean 15 list, so you don't have to worry about getting them organic, which is a little bit more expensive. I know that I usually buy a big bag at Aldi for like $2, and so they're really easy to just keep on hand. They stay in your pantry for a while, and if you ever need, another starch, carby side dish, just chop them up and roast them. It's really, really easy, really nutrient dense. Another one is bananas, and it blows my mind how cheap bananas are, and how, honestly, if you're running out the door and you don't have time to eat anything else, a banana can at least keep you satisfied until you get a chance to eat something else. So I really recommend a banana at the start of your day. They are so nutritious. Kids love them also. So another bonus, make sure your kids eat a banana every day so it stretches your dollar and nutritional bang for your buck. When we're talking meal prepping, and when I have meal prepped for people, we're mostly talking about lunch. What can you eat when you are out and about in your day, or you're out at work and you've got something healthy from home, and you don't have to go to fast food? You're gonna need some meat. I know that people, if you eat meat, you're gonna need some meat. I've worked with a lot of people who have just boiled their chicken breasts, or, cooked them to death, and they're like, oh, it's just this stringy dry chicken. There are still simple and delicious ways to make chicken. And so, again, I'm a big fan of roasting. I think everything I've brought up so far has to do with roasting in the oven, but it's a nice way to go. You can find recipes online. And then I like to slice it, get it out, let it fully rest, let your chicken breast or your chicken thighs, that's a good option too, to totally rest, cool off, and then slice it thinly, and then you can add it to your lunch container with anything from rice, a little salad, some hummus. Always recommend going heavy on the veggies, whatever you like, really. There's no wrong, especially when you're just getting started in, going from processed food to meal prepped food. So that's a good way to go. Also, shrimp to me is an unsung hero. To me, I can, if I haven't thawed something else out to cook for dinner, I can thaw out shrimp in like 2 minutes and just, run cold water over it in the sink, dry it off, coat it with whatever you want to flavor it up, pop it in the oven under broil. And shrimp is also really good to eat cold the next day, or I think it is. So putting it on a salad, or throwing some noodles or some rice or something in there. Sweet potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes. One of my clients that I meal prepped for, she said that was what she looked forward to in lunch every day, was the roasted sweet potatoes. And those are super packed with nutrition, and simple and cheap too. Something that all kids seem to like are meatballs. And you can dress up meatballs and make them go with almost anything. You can do, your classic Italian spaghetti and meatballs with the marinara sauce. What kid doesn't love that? And then everything from that to, I like to make an Asian style meatball and, have maybe a teriyaki glaze on them. But meatballs are such a kid-friendly food. Even smaller kids can, use their hands and eat them. and they're really fun for kids to make too. So, and you can keep it clean, get some clean grass-fed beef, a little bit of onion, garlic, just your salt, pepper, olive oil. That's really all it requires. You can get more fancy than that with fresh herbs, etc. But yeah, just keep it simple. Let the little hands mix it up and, make them into balls, put them on a baking sheet, and boom. That's a pretty easy one. Along with that, your older children, I definitely recommend making sure your older children understand safety, that all children understand safety in the kitchen, but especially those who you're ready to let use a knife. Give them proper instructions and supervision, but when they're ready, have them cut up the potatoes. Like, okay, sweetie, cut each of these into fourths. And then, now you're gonna bring out the math teacher in me. As I was an elementary math teacher at one point in my life. But, hey, give me these potatoes in quarters, and, they can do that. Toss those on a baking sheet, salt, pepper, olive oil, boom, roasted potatoes. And then, you got to have something green. I mentioned asparagus a minute ago, how Asher, when he was 2, he would break the asparagus for me. Again, just salt, pepper, olive oil. It's really the basics, and then you can get more and more creative from there. So, I recommend starting with a couple of items that are going to be easy to knock out, and then you and your family can get creative as you go. What I see a lot with people is confusion around how to go about getting healthy. I think that we have taken in so much advertising over the years, and that can tend to get in people's heads, and it may or may not be accurate. But ideas that people are holding on to from a long time ago, everything from that to, well, on the package, it looks healthy, the package is green, the brand says natural, it's organic, even that. And so I think that my best advice, if someone is going through that, is just keep it simple. Go for as few processed foods as possible. People tend to think of chips and cookies as the processed junk. Even things like the healthy crackers and things like that, and granola bars even, you've got to be careful. So my advice is, you've heard this before, shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Better yet, go to your farmer's market here in Chattanooga. We have some fantastic ones. The big one on Sunday on the south side, and then also that same location on Wednesdays. And I know there are many others around, but I'm not even perfect about it. I'm a single mom, and I get out there and get as many things as I can, but I also have to stop by the grocery store. I stop by Aldi. I kind of have my go-to items at Aldi that I think are clean and a good value. But when you're thinking about what do I do to get healthy, just keep it simple. Keep your food as close to completely unprocessed as possible. Make your own meal prepping. It can be a drag, but it can also be really fun. So I've got lots of tips for people who want to start doing their own meal prepping. As far as exercise goes, if you are completely starting from scratch, first of all, kudos, because that's difficult to do, to get going. But I would say don't be too hard on yourself. Going for a 20 or 30-minute walk is great. A walk like that is awesome. From there, I think that incorporating a little bit of resistance work and weights can really go a long way. And you don't even necessarily have to have weights, just, the old standbys of squats, push-ups, mountain climbers, planks. So you can really put yourself together a little, what we would call a little HIIT workout. This is if I can't get to the gym and I'm not doing a run or something else, I'll go out in my yard and I'll do a little HIIT run. You can even get a timer for your phone, or just use the timer that's on your phone. And you would do maybe 1 minute of mountain climbers, a minute rest, a minute of squats, a minute rest, a minute of push-ups, a minute of rest, and a minute plank and a minute rest. And do that 3 times through. I mean, those are things that don't cost a dime. The whole workout maybe take you 15 to 20 minutes. And again, I'm all about bang for your buck. So you've got the resistance training in there, and building muscle is the best way to increase your metabolism. I found myself interested in health, but also mostly in food. And I was the the weird kid that I was 11, 12 years old watching the Food Network, and just grew to have a desire to cook for my family even when I was a teenager. And I always deep down felt like, there's got to be a way to cook delicious, satisfying meals that are very close to those comfort foods, those Southern meals that we all grew up loving, but how can we do it in a healthier way? And so from the time I was maybe 15, 16 years old, I was trying to learn and experiment with these things. Sometimes to my family's chagrin that I was experimenting with these things, but no, they were always very supportive. And from just that natural curiosity on into my early 20s, I started just, as I learned things, I wanted to try to implement them into my life. And I was a big Diet Coke drinker in my early teaching career. And finally I said, you know what, I'm going to quit this, I'm going to kick this. And, and I just kind of learned on my own little tricks as to how to do that. I just recently read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and read it with a group from work, but that book is just, it talks about everything, pervasive across your whole life. And I realized reading that book that one big thing that I did in my mid-20s is I said, you know what, every time I cook dinner, we're going to have something green. And it was so small. It was the tiniest decision ever, but over the years it forced me to be creative. I started getting farm share boxes, and there would be vegetables that I had never cooked before, but it was really fun to learn. Still learning, always new recipes and new things to learn along the way, but just, from that point saying, okay, what are some little things that I can put into place in my life in order to foster a healthy lifestyle? And that also continued into having a child, becoming a mom. I've always wanted him to have a passion for healthy foods. He gets treats and all those things as well, but I have found that the most impactful thing that kids can do is get in the kitchen with you. There's always some little job that little hands can do. When he was 2 or 3 years old, he was breaking the ends off of asparagus for me. And now he's 11 and he has his own knife and does his thing. So definitely, just as a mom, wanting to continue healthy lifestyle journey through that. And then also around that time, becoming a mom, my personal health took some major hits. And there are a variety of reasons for that. Everything from just the stress that giving birth in and of itself takes on the body, the amount of time and nutrition and care and rest that the body requires, and then just some other lifestyle stresses that came in. And I started really having some health struggles. And I knew that I wanted to do anything that I could to stay in control of my health. And so that led me down the path of honestly just trying a lot of things. And all along the way, being passionate about the learning experience of trying different things. And, you know, maybe you keep some of them, maybe you trade some of them out along the way, but everyone learning what works best for them and their life and their body, I think that's what it's all about. So you can find me on Instagram at Fit Food Chat. So it's everything about fitness, food, and Chattanooga. And I work with clients with coaching. I'm not a certified nutritionist yet. I'm looking into programs for becoming a holistic nutritionist right now, but I am a coach. So I work with clients with things from Couch to 5K programs to meal prep to kids cooking classes in your home. So it's just as easy as reaching out, and then we can have a call, a little consultation, and go from there.